like it, but who cares? So what do you think? Do you think
It would have been
that
better. I was just about to ask
harsh reaction
from Iran that if it would have been a sort of barter agreement, that we could sell wheat, rice and other products to Iran to pay for the cost which Iran is providing us in the form of.
But he did mention that, and also in the newspapers I've been reading that that might be a possibility.
But this should be discussed seriously. See, that will take care of many of the issues of Iran and Pakistan.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, the next question is that Pakistan also asked the US to help us in a civilian nuclear deal like the one they gave India in order to get India to pull out of this project. So what is the reason why they did not accept that demand from Pakistan?
Well, you see, as far as nuclear deal is concerned, let's be very frank and honest. America will never go through this. They will never like to give civil nuclear power reactors to Pakistan.
But what is the reason behind that?
There are many complex reasons. The main reason is that we are in nuclear power right now.
But we are already a nuclear power.
Yeah, but they have not accepted it.
Well, so, I mean, whether or not they accepted it, it is a fact. And
they are maintaining that political and all sorts of economic pressures on Pakistan.
So, but what sort of a reaction do you see coming out? I mean, we've heard the spokesperson and Senator, sort of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had said that there could be, or there can be.
Yeah, but they could linger on with these words, but they will never provide us a nuclear power reactor.
But what about sanctions, sir?
I hope not. And this would be a crucial test, this IP project, whether they impose or go through the... In fact, I think the tragedy is that we are not prepared for it. We should have prepared ourselves first to be economically an independent country, and then there would have been no problem. We can survive.
We also have on the line with us Mr. Debesh Anand. He's from Delhi.
Yes,
and he's a
Westminster University.
Absolutely. Welcome to the program, Mr. Debesh. Are you with us?
Thank you.
Okay, now my question is that why did India pull out of this project when India does import oil from Iran already?
You see, because of course there were different reasons, and the main reason they gave was cost as well as security reasons, including the not being sure that the pipeline that would go through Pakistan, especially Balochistan region, would be safe. However, most analysts agree that the main reason could be the American pressure. We have to remember that the year before they scrapped the deal, or they withdrew from this deal, India-US had signed nuclear deal, and there was a lot of hope in India that India and US relationship would get better, and therefore energy requirements of India would be met through relationship with the US and other nuclear states. That has not worked.
So we've also actually read in the newspapers that India has made overtures recently when the pipeline has actually gone ahead, and they still might be just sitting on the fence regarding this issue.
See, actually, the Indian foreign policy is very interesting, and we usually think of a country's foreign policy somewhat stable. It's not. So 2008 and 2009 was different when there was a lot of hope about nuclear deal, but now there are different views in New Delhi. For instance, there is a strong view that India should improve its relation with Iran. India needs Iran, and therefore India has to look within the region, and therefore we should not be surprised if India and Pakistan relationship improves, that there would be again serious talks about Iran-Pakistan pipeline being extended to India. It all depends upon how India views Pakistan. So it would depend on India-Pakistan relationship partly.
And it's also been known as the peace pipeline. So here's hoping that in the future this pipeline can act as a means for achieving peace in the entire region.
Precisely. I mean, look, the point is a stable Pakistan, a prosperous Pakistan is as much of an interest, it would be in interest of India as a stable and prosperous India would be for Pakistan. The point is the elites in both countries need to stop arguing with each other and realize that they need to work in the region. I know US is an important player, but we have to remember that you cannot choose your neighbors. You can choose great power and the great power with which you want to have a relationship. But India and Pakistan and Iran, they cannot avoid each other. So the best way forward, therefore, is for them to cooperate.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Anand. Well, that was Professor Anand from Delhi joining us. Quite a pragmatic view, sir, actually, don't you think? I don't think he's ruled out the possibility of India coming back on board.
This is what I see. I think Indians will approach Iran and Pakistan both to be a party to it very soon, as soon as the project succeeds, yes.
Because the nuclear project hasn't really been that rosy thing that they expected it to be.
Maybe for the nuclear deal.
With America?
With the United States, yes.
There is never a deal. It will never materialize, if you ask
So you
me.
think that's not limited just to Pakistan, but to India? We're talking about India's civil
Well,
aviation.
they are already through. India and America, they are clear that America is going to support the Indian nuclear program for power purposes, but not, unfortunately, in case of Pakistan.
Not in the case of Pakistan.
So why can't we indigenously develop nuclear power for ourselves?
We are already on our way, and we nearly produce about 70% of the component of a nuclear power reactor within the country.
Well, that is very heartening to know. That's good news.
Yes, very
No,
good
but you
news.
talk about how the West does not accept Pakistan's nuclear capability. I mean, on the other hand, we see them recently in Almaty, they were talking to Iran. We see a somewhat of a softening on the stance, even with a country like Iran, where they were very, very hardline. Do you think that if Pakistan were to develop some start developing energy via nuclear technology, that would be not received very well?
Yeah, it's not being received, but Pakistan is in a very good position to develop nuclear technology indigenously. Except 20 to 30% component, we are self-sufficient. So I think Pakistan should go on having more nuclear power plants in Pakistan, and at the moment we are producing about 2 to 3%. I think we should go for about 10% at least during this decade.
10%. Okay, so we have Areej Siddiqui from University of New Jersey with us on the line. She writes as well. Areej, how is this going to be viewed in the United States, where they've said that they might impose sanctions on us if we went through with the deal? How will this, the inauguration of the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline be viewed?
I think as a whole, it's viewed as Pakistan being a little defiant towards America, because America as a whole at the moment sees Iran as its biggest threat. Whether that's a sound view is still debated, but I think that because America did propose a $7.5 billion effort to pump energy projects into this country, and the extending hydropower dams, we see that as Pakistan isn't taking offers given to it by America, but it's taking offers given by Iran. But at the same time, I think that America has to understand that Pakistan can't wait for these long-term efforts. They have to find a short-term solution first.
Also, Areej, I'm sorry to cut you off, but American assistance, the proposed American assistance, according to some figures, it says that we will only get around 900 megawatts, while as through the PAT pipeline, that's 4,000 megawatts right there. So, I mean, can the United States expect realistically Pakistan to set aside its national interest and, do what it says? I mean, was that a reasonable expectation in the United States?
Absolutely not. I don't think that they can, because more so than America allying with Iran, I think a bigger concern for America should be a prosperous and a stable Pakistan. And I think that the crisis with the energy has the potential to be a destabilizer for Pakistan. So I think that they shouldn't be, I think that they will bark, but they won't bite. They will say that we're going to impose sanctions, but I don't truly think that they will go ahead with them.
That's exactly what we were seeing, in fact, because earlier on there was a lot of posturing about this pipeline and how America was against it, but now recently when the project has now gone underway, we have seen a rather muted response coming from the West.
Yes, exactly. I think also because America has to realize they can't inflame more anti-American sentiment in Pakistan.
Yes.
It's already high enough as it is with the drones. I think that to impose sanctions would worsen that. It would have an adverse effect on the Pakistani public as a whole, and that's not something America can risk at this point.
All right, Areej, before we let you go, a slight tangent here, but how are the talks between Iran and the rest of the world on Iran's nuclear weapons being viewed in the United States?
This is something, it's highly debated. There are certain people who believe that Iran absolutely has nuclear weapons and that they must be stopped at any point. I don't think that this is it's a popular opinion, but it's not one that has a lot of basis behind it. It has more to do with Iran's anti-Semitic beliefs, I personally believe. But there are professors coming out with studies who believe that there is no evidence that Iran actually has nuclear weapons, but rather there's evidence to the contrary, that they're not working towards nuclear capability.
Or that Iran keeps insisting they're doing it in order to sort of benefit themselves and not in order to make weapons.
Yes, exactly.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Areej. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you heard what
Well said.
Areej had to say.
Yeah.
Said she thinks that they will bark, but they won't bite. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think the Americans know that they could create several hurdles before this project succeeds in many ways, and that will be very sad from Pakistani viewpoint. Let's hope that Pakistani government and leadership is equipped to take care of threats, and even if those threats are practically given the shape of implementation. See, in international relations, one should be very, very careful, and one should watch one's own interests foremost, rather than entering into the world of politics.
So, but we see that happening all the time. I mean, it would be unrealistic to expect countries to act out of anything other than national interest, I think.
Well, the reason being that we have made ourselves so much dependent on others. That's not good. Then we require strong leadership. We may be able to live within our own resources, but we should have our business, very well established.